Hello and welcome to Food Safety Fridays. My name is Simon Timperley from the International Food Safety and Quality Network. Today's special guest is Hami Dosanjh, Director of Training and Consulting at ASI Food. The topic we're going to be discussing today is revolutionizing in-house food safety training, harnessing innovation for effective staff education and compliance. So I'm sure some of you struggle with this issue, and I'm sure you'll get lots out of today, some tips to practically implement into your system. So welcome, Hami. Morning.
Good morning, Simon, and good morning, everyone. Hello from California at 7 a.m., sunny California.
7 a.m., sunny California. I'm in the UK, in Manchester in the north, and it's about 9 degrees centigrade. So it's the autumn, the fall, as you would say in the USA. It's the autumn time.
Yes.
On the run up to Christmas, it'll soon be the winter season. So tell us where you're joining from, everybody. You're welcome. It's always good to see you. Jan from the Netherlands, Sharon from Arizona, John from Miami, Satyajit from India, Mohinder from New Delhi. Who else have we got? Angela from Ecuador, Anthony from Idaho. Look at that. Literally, Katerina from Austria, where you're going soon.
Yes, Catherine, I will be visiting Austria on Thanksgiving, the last week of November. So I'm coming to Germany and Austria. So I'm looking forward.
And we've got another European there, Atil from the Czech Republic. So anyway, you're all very welcome. It's great to have so many regulars and new people join us for these webinars. I'm going to play the video ads now because Food Safety Fridays is sponsored, and we'll be back for the presentation in a couple of minutes. Okay, I'll be back for the Q&A later, but for now I'll hand you over to Hami.
Okay. Again, good morning, everyone. Let's get started. Before we get started, everybody is in the listen mode. We will have a Q&A session in the last 15 minutes. If you do have any questions, please do add in your chat box. And let's talk about in-house trainings. A little bit on my introduction, as I'm from California. I'm the Director of Food Safety Training and Consulting right here at ASI. I've been in the industry for about 18 years now. I have a master's in food safety from Michigan State, and I have a certificate in international food laws and regulations. And I'm excited to discuss about internal trainings, in-house trainings with you guys. A little bit of ASI, our services. We are the leading product safety auditing, training, and consulting company based in St. Louis, that's provided farm-to-fork food solutions since 1940s. ASI has emerged credible and accredited certification body for major certification standards such as SQF, BRCGS, IFS, FSSC 22000. And we do provide full suite of safety quality solutions to food and beverage, dietary supplement, packaging, and cannabis industries. So our goal is to make certifications and training easy because we are passionate about our business. We are keep growing with our keeping up with our current regulations, protecting consumers, and one of the largest product safety companies in North America. Our clients range from regional small operations to international giants such as Coca-Cola, Curaleaf, and Sprouts. Why choose ASI? Because we are giving world-class customer service. We have 97% customer satisfaction rate. We are ISO accredited. We do have dedicated project and account managers. We are industry leaders for over 90 years, and it is a one-stop shop where you can take training, consulting, and audits as well. So agenda for the today. So we're going to be discussing importance of in-house trainings. What is the purpose of Train the Trainer program? Principles and characteristics of adult learning, training design, effective communication skills, what technologies out there and how can you utilize those in assessments and evaluation. With my experience, I've noticed that a lot of companies, industries is still struggling with the in-house training, meaning when you're trying to provide training for your own employees in-house. Of course, you go out, you take third-party trainings, but what if I want to give training to my own employees within my department? So how are we going to handle that? So we're going to talk about those things in this webinar. So let's talk about overview of food safety challenges in the industry. As if now at this point, as we navigate today's complex food industry, we face several critical challenges. Let's go some over major ones. First is the global nature of our modern food supply chain, which has added, of course, a lot of complexity. Ingredients and products are often cross multiple borders before reaching the consumer, which is, of course, increasing the potential of contamination. As you are fully aware, just in recent months, if I look at last 6 months, there has been a lot of recalls just within US alone. Each country has its own standards, making it challenging to maintain consistent safety protocols from one region to another. The next one is regulatory requirements are becoming also increasingly stringent. Agencies like FDA, USDA, international counterparts are also constantly updating the standards to protect public health. So staying compliant can be resource intensive, require continuous updates for your training, your processes. Now, consumers today want to know whether their food comes from, where it's coming from, how is it made. So their demand for transparency also adding pressure on companies to maintain accurate, up-to-date records. Transparency also ties into safety, as any issues or recalls require immediate, as you know, traceable actions to protect public health. And finally, this is my major, one of the issues that I have noticed when I was in the industry. We are dealing with the labor shortage and the knowledge gaps. Finding skilled workers in the food and safety is challenging. High turnover can lead to gaps also in the institutional knowledge. This makes it essential to have robust training systems that can quickly bring new employees up to the speed while we are still continuously reinforcing our critical food safety practices for existing staff. So these challenges set the stage for why a strong in-house food safety training program is so important. And by addressing these issues proactively, companies can stay compliant. We can create safer work environment. Like I said, when I was in the industry, labor shortage was our biggest concern, and also during the harvest season. You probably have noticed if it is a 6-month operation, 4-month operation, you do probably have a lot of agency employees. They come one day, they leave, they are working there for 1 week and they leave. You are training them and they're gone in a 1 month. And that challenge is always there in the industry, especially at the ag side. So how do we overcome, how do we try our best to make sure employees are trained very well before they start working in our industry or in our company? So why we choose in-house food safety trainings? Well, first, you have customization of content. You have that ability to customize your content based on your needs, based on your audience. Before that, we need to know who is going to be teaching these, meaning the trainer or the trainer. You have to watch experienced trainers and presenters in action. You will likely note several things about their behavior. They care about the learners. They're really passionate. They really want to make sure employees understand where they're doing in-house trainings. They prepare the session. They follow what strategy will work, what technique is available, how we're going to make sure they are really, really understanding the content here. So when you're tailoring your training to a specific product process, and you can use your facility layout also, address company specific challenges directly, making training more relevant and practical. Training on site without the need to send employees to external courses, allowing scheduling also around production. As you know, production is always busy. You may be working in a 24/7 operation where production is never really stopping. So how are we going to make sure that those employees are also up to the speed, they understand what's going on, what are the new challenges? So it does provide you greater flexibility based on and then enhance control over your quality. Regular control updates to training material based on emerging risk, and immediate feedbacks, your adjustments based on your staff performance and audit results can also help. And of course, in the end, promote a stronger food safety culture. In-house trainings reinforce accountability and ownership of your product food safety practices, and which is going to build your cohesive culture with the shared understanding of compliance and safety goals. Now, with the in-house trainings, in my experience, I have seen HR doing sanitation trainings. There's nothing wrong with that, but in my opinion, HR should not be doing in-house, especially the sanitation training. I believe sanitation, as we all know, it's very, very deep topic. HR does not have that kind of, they are not subject matter experts. So maybe sanitation department should be conducting their own trainings within their own department. Same goes for production. There's also many, many topics as in the food safety. GMPs, for example, are handled by the food safety department, and they really want to explain the employees why to wash hands. Simple as why to wash hands, why do we need gloves. So please do make sure that in-house training, when you're conducting the trainings, who is conducting the training, are they subject matter experts, or are we just doing the basics and really expecting employees to understand everything, and basically also they are able to take any action, but probably not, because they don't know what's going on. They just know the basics, and basics are probably not enough for them to perform their job effectively. Train the trainer. Each of you is unique. You guys bring your own history, you guys have your own experience, knowledge as to your role as a trainer, but there are certain skills, attitude and knowledge that each professional trainer should possess. So for example, attitude. Are you positive? Can you do it? Is it helpful? Self motivated, assertive, funny, also patient. Do you have enough energy for doing the classes or trainings? Are you enthusiastic? Are you committed? Willingness to accept feedback. Attitude and traits required for a trainer can also depend on the nature of the training course material and the nature of organization. So for example, trainers who conduct experiential training are generally expected to be open, they're very caring, sensitive, and so on. Trainers who conduct sales training, for example, are generally expected to exhibit enthusiasm and energy. So good way to identify the required characteristics of trainer is to examine the value, questioning, listening. Do they have the right knowledge? Do they have the right skills, verbal skills? Do they have ability to handle tough participants? Maybe a lot of people are asking a lot of questions. Can you be patient enough to answer them? Or are you getting mad at them or angry at them? Why you're asking so many questions? That happened to me one time when I was in the training, and the instructor shut me down. He said, "You're asking a lot of questions." So please make sure when you're doing this in-house trainings, especially within your own organization, within your facilities, with your employees, please be patient. Make sure you can handle the tough participants. If you have to, you can make decision making right at the spot. You can organize, plan. You have to have presentation skills, flexibility also based on your audience. As you look at the if you think about floor employees versus mid management to upper management, you have to change your method of delivery, how you're teaching employees, what kind of message are you trying to give them. uh, Managing also diverse groups, ability to provide motivational and developmental feedback. And writing, maybe are you able to write clearly, concisely? Are your information is clear enough? So what is the role and responsibility of train the trainer? Well, first they should know how to prepare the course material. Okay. What are the objectives of this training when you're planning to conduct a training? How are you going to evaluate, or assessments are there? setting up, organizing your classroom. It could be your breakout rooms. If you're doing the live, and you can do Zoom, or if you're doing in a conference room, for example, maybe you have presentation again available. Can you manage your time effectively? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 1 hour? Are you going over? Okay. And evaluating student progress during learning. This is very important. It's hard to have people actually listening and engaging for example, 8-hour class. If you ask me, can you sit in 8-hour class? My answer is going to be, I'm probably going to pay attention 10 minutes max. I'm going to be lost. And after 8 hours, probably my brain is not really functioning and working because it's a long training. Okay. So, and I have a really short span, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and I'm pretty much lost in my own thoughts, and I will be wandering around, and then something might, bring my attention. So it's very important, especially when you're talking about floor employees who are actually working on production floor, how to engage them and how to make sure they are not losing interest in your trainings. Okay. So there are 7 characteristics of a outstanding trainer, which is they have to be enthusiastic, confident in their own material, they know how to deliver, they are going to be relaxed, humorous, really not always, you don't have to be too strict, because people are going to be there and scared and afraid, and they're like, oh, I have to sit in the class because I have no choice. Maybe I'm going to be in trouble from HR. That is not the agenda. That is not the whole point of doing these in-house trainings, right? In control, you know when to speed up, when to slow down, depending on your audience, how to engage them, and make sure you are subject matter expert, or whoever is doing these trainings are subject matter experts. Like I said, sanitation is one of the topics that I would not prefer HR doing those kind of trainings, because it's such a detail how to conduct the sanitation, what chemicals, what sanitizers, concentration. There's so many details are there. I don't think so, unless HR is, they can do it great, but I don't think so they are the subject matter experts. Okay. So be careful who is conducting on what topic the training. Why train the trainer? While consistency in training, in-house trainers can ensure standardized training method, enhancing compliance across the organization. Employee empowerment, you want them to empower, you want employees to empower, to be engaged. You want them to be really excited when there's a trainings going on, and not like, oh my god, another training, boring, 6-hour, 4-hour, 10-hour training. And a lot of people actually enjoy that. Oh, I don't have to work, so I can sit in the class, or maybe using phone and they're distracted half of the time. So make sure you do have designated trainers, gain leadership skills, boosting morale, accountability. And also this is a great way to enhance your culture, where one of your participants might be interested in teaching, and you can empower them, you can show them how to become a trainer, and next thing you know, they are actually training on the staff on the line. It's also cost effective if you look at it. Instead of taking classes, going out with the third party, you guys can use in-house training and reduce reliance on external providers, make it feasible. And of course, you are working inside your facility industry, you know what are your needs as per your operation. So again, it brings the flexibility. What are the key components of Train the Trainer program? Curriculum design skills teach trainers to create engaging, clear, relevant training modules, again, that address site-specific food safety needs, and not the really bulk or journal topics, because journal topics we all know, but when it comes to specifics to it, right? Again, production operations, labeling, for example, allergens we talk about GMP, sanitation, pest control, pest management. So these topics are more site-specific, very specific, and make sure that subject matter experts understand, they know the audience, they are able to again modify based on the needs of the floor, needs of the operations and the employee. You have to have presentation skills, emphasize clear techniques for communication. How are you making this training delivery interactive to ensure retention and understanding? And assessment and feedback. A lot of trainers like quizzes. You guys can also do a competency test later, where you're basically doing the training and you can go to their workstation, for example, and say, okay, you know what, you're really not doing an interview. but in a very general, casual way. Hey, how are you doing this job? Could you explain me, right? You can also assess their knowledge if they understand anything, because if they're in a classroom, they may be not comfortable saying anything. If we are doing quizzes, maybe they are a little bit embarrassed. What if they get less than others, right? So be careful how are we going to use this assessment, and be open to the feedback techniques. How can you make it better? Look at provide constructive feedback also, and again reinforcing a learning culture here, where there is going to be an open door policy. You're looking for the feedbacks, and you're also changing your training delivery method or your material also. It could be it's really heavy, lot of writing on the slides might also distract your participants. A lot of people actually try to look or add bunch of pictures, but that could also be distractive. Is they're looking at pictures. My preferred way is if I have a little bit of pictures, if I have a little bit of more exercises, for example, in between discussion points, then I'm more engaged. But if you ask me to sit in the class and all it's heavy slides, bunch of information, there's really no interaction going on, no discussion, no group exercises, you're going to lose me. I probably am not going to pay attention at all. So benefits again for the culture. It promotes the culture of ownership again. Internal trainers take pride in educating peers. It's reinforcing a shared commitment to food safety, fosters peer-to-peer learning. Trainers become trusted sources, making learning more accessible and relatable. Ensure sustainable knowledge transfer. Training continuity is maintained as internal trainers are readily available to update and reinforce standards. So it's important, again, to enhance our culture, make sure that employees are comfortable, and it's an open door policy, like I said again earlier, that employees can just come and they can really enjoy, and they're looking forward. They might be able to actually give the feedback, hey, next time maybe we should talk about these topics, especially on the production floor. If your employees are well aware these training programs are coming, they might be giving you solutions or actually ideas. Hey, can we do the training on this? We've been noticing there's always a non-compliance on this, for example, or it's not really functioning. For example, downtime. We have a lot of downtime on one of the machines. Can we do something about it, right? So what are the principles and characteristics of adult learning? Well, we are all adults. Self-directed learning. Adults prefer autonomy on their learning process, setting goals. What are your path? Your prior experience also matters. Your knowledge also matters here. Relevance to your real life solution. Adults motivated to learn. Trainers make learning relevant by using real world examples, scenarios that resonate with the learner experience. Problem centered learning. If you have, like I said, you have a lot of issues going on, for example, so why not create a short training and just center around that, meaning you present so they can learn how to solve the problem rather than passive reception of the information. And I'll give you something about this scenario where when I was a couple of years ago, how we did it. As you all know, on typical day, production day, nothing goes smooth. Everything goes smooth in one day, and sometimes everything's breaking down the next day. Okay. Typically what happens, there's a breakdown. Yes, we put product on hold. We have to do corrective action. Who is sitting on those meetings? Senior management, mid manager, right? They are going in the conference room. They are doing these problem solving sessions. Yet the machine operator is not there. Production supervisor is not there. Main people who are actually running the production process, they are not even part of this. So where the solutions coming from the offices and not from the floor. So the organization, the company I was working with, they decided we got to change the culture. We got to change this whole, because really there's no solution coming out, and we have to teach every single employee on the floor how to do the problem solving. Fishbone, 5 whys were the few tools that we used, and I was part of that training. This whole the revolution that we were bringing in, and we taught pretty much every single one from the floor to the upper management how to do the problem solving. And the agenda or the objective behind was, if there is something going on, if there's a problem on the floor, floor employees should be able to handle that, meaning they have to come up with the solutions, and not the managers, not the supervisors, not like the senior managers sitting in the conference room and literally drawing everything, and again the solutions are really not working. So I hope if you have a lot of issues going on, you might want to step back and look at the bigger picture here. Okay, does employee have this, are we empowering our employees? Are we providing the right tools to our employees where they can actually know how to do the problem solving? You provide them the tools and guide them and help them, and then next thing you know, they're able to handle on their own, right? So please do look at that side also, that maybe we have to explain them, help them, what are the tools available, maybe from the basics, and then help them to guide and then come up with the proper solutions, corrective actions. So, and they will be probably coming with the preventative actions also. Need for respect and collaboration. This is another one way to engage them, right? With this mutual respect, you're asking them their feedback, they're actively participating. That way they're motivated, they're going to bring up a lot of solutions, they're going to bring up a lot of topics also, that hey, we should be doing their trainings on such and such topics because we've been noticing there's a breakdown going on, and we have a lot of product on hold, for example. For what reason? Why can we avoid that, right? Encourage discussions, group activities, feedback and reflection. Adults benefit from timely, constructive feedback on their progress and performance, so please do give them in a positive note. Self-assessments, peer evaluation, again, trainer feedback to support continuous improvement. Make sure you do motivate your employees to give the feedback, so then again, you guys can go and enhance your trainings, your delivery. Again, make sure the trainer is well aware how to engage with the participants. Flexibility in learning approaches. Adults have diverse learning style and preferences. Trainer to employ a variety of instructional methods and delivery format. Otherwise, if you're using the same format, they're gonna get bored. they know already the style, so they might be like, it's the same thing, right? So think about a little bit more creative here. And again, adult learners are motivated when they perceive clear benefit. What is the benefit of taking this class, or is there any reward associated with the learning outcome? So you guys can come up with those ideas also. What are the importance? A lot of I'm pretty sure during your your experience, a lot of employees ask, what is my benefit? Why do I have to take this class? Why do I have to take this training, right? And if there's really no benefit, they don't see the benefit, that's another challenge that you might have, and you have to probably sit down and say, okay, is there any reward system? Okay, how can we enhance, how can we make this culture where employees don't think that it's a waste of my time? Okay, my boss told me to take the class, that's why I'm sitting in the class. I've been teaching for a while now, a couple of years now, and I do a lot of trainings through the Zoom instructor-led classes. And in one of the classes, you will be surprised, most of the few are there just because their managers told them to sit in the class. They're really not, your cameras are off, they are not really engaging. And in my classes, my rule is you have to have your camera on, you have to have your audio on, because I need to see how engaging that person is, right? They need to have a discussions, they have to be engaging. And it's sad in a way that they just sit there and they don't realize companies are paying for your trainings, right? They are spending resources for you to learn, so you can bring that knowledge back, and you can really, again, make it better for our employees, for our operations. But sometimes it doesn't happen that. Okay, so know your trainees. Conduct thorough audience analysis. What kind of demographic we have? What are their learning preferences? Language is another barrier, could be. For example, I'm in California. We have a lot of Spanish-speaking employees. So why would I come up with the English training material? Okay, it's I will translate into Spanish. Make sure that I have Spanish trainer available. We had scenarios sometimes it's not available. Then if I'm speaking Spanish, I have somebody who can translate for me. That's another way also. Okay, so please do look at your audience. If there is a language preference, make sure you do convert that training material in the preferred language, so they can really connect, they understand, and they can ask the questions. Okay, use surveys, interviews, observations to gather insights into trainees' background. Again, what are their expectations? Tailor your content to your audience needs through your customization. What works for upper management, senior management doesn't it's not that it's going to work for the floor employees also. Okay, so please make sure your audience, what kind of audience we are having, we have to probably go a little bit basic, we probably have to add more details here. And one thing I've been noticing throughout these years, that supervisor, leads, managers, they don't provide enough information. They feel like no, they don't need to know, and they hold the important information, and next thing they know, there's a ccp deviations going on, there's a lot of product on hold, the paperwork is missing, there's no record going on, and they blame employees. And it's not a blame game. You got to think about, okay, am I teaching, am I training my employees, especially the forms, for example. Most of us create the forms, fancy forms, half of the forms are half filled, employees have no idea what to do, what to look, or what to add there, and then in the end we blame the employees. So I don't think so that's a really good way, and again, that set back your culture. So please do make sure that engage your trainees, make sure they are understanding. Forms filling form is just a small example that I'm trying to, because during all this my experience when I do consulting work, also gap assessments, and it's just that half of the forms are just looking so fancy, but employees have no idea why they're filling the form, because there's a gap in the training. Leveraging technology to elevate food safety training. This is a really good one. As you know, AI is out there. There's technologies out there. E-learning platforms, we call learning management system is out there, which helps you to have on-demand self-paced courses for the staff. You can start whenever you want. There's probably 6 months or maybe 1 month time period that you can start your trainings. So you guys can use that. Virtual reality, of course, and augmented reality. These are also simulations based. They are more practical, hands-on training experiences. For example, identifying food safety hazards. What are the GMPs? Mock audits. So this can also enhance your learning with the immersive scenarios that stimulate your real-world situation, improving the knowledge, retention, practical applications, and of course, AI to assess your individual skill level, learning preferences, then customized training. And AI-powered progress track allows personalized feedback also. It gives you quicker response. And obviously, as you know, AI, you can change different audios also, preferred languages, which are more not robotic really, but actually it's like more human touch to that. And of course, you can use brainstorming, quizzes, drawing, self-paced courses also provides flexibility for your learners to assess the training material. And you guys can do screen sharing. So there are many ways to elevate your food safety trainings now. Create different methods for engaging the staff, engaging your employees, scenario-based learning and role playing. This is another one where we have conducted, I was part of this, where we had this simulation based. We created the full simulation of our receiving to the shipping with the products actually. And we had this separate groups were coming from different departments were coming, and we did the full simulations, and we addressed, okay, in a given day, what are the problems here, how can we do the problem solving. And that was a practical way of teaching our employees what happens on a daily basis. And there's a quality going on, there's a labels were missing, labels were placed wrong labels were placed on the wrong product, packaging material was incorrect, for example, weight was incorrect since the beginning. So there was many issues that we brought up during the simulation. So you guys can do role playing, you guys can come up with a scenario based also, where it promotes quick decision making, deepens also the understanding of the protocol. As we all know by now, everybody have SOPs, we have procedures, everything is being written now. But the next step is, okay, what are we doing with these fancy SOPs or procedures? It's just sitting there collecting dust, but is it out there on the floor? Is it really practically, are we doing something about it? You can design micro learning modules also, which is they are based on more focus on like specific topics. They're quick digestible lessons. You can also try on accessible on mobile, for example, gamifying your learning experience with the quizzes, badges, maybe rewarding higher performance, friendly competition. Be careful with this friendly competition that can become a race. You don't want, again, your culture to be going in a way where people are competing with each other for prizes or something. Make it very healthy there. And encourage your continuous improvement through your ongoing feedback, performance tracking, again, dashboard. Recognize what are the achievements are we getting in this. Is it really enhancing our food safety practices with our regular awards, creating a motivating environment for the compliance, right? For example, product 50% of the product was on hold, but with these kind of trainings that we are planning or the knowledge we are sharing, now employees are being proactive. Now they are understanding, okay, what to do and what not to do. Again, job experience, job responsibilities, they are looking at beyond what they are doing. I always talk about culture. Line operator probably gonna say that I am here only to operate this machine, and that's it. That is my job. But if you ask them, what is your role and responsibility in terms of food safety, the answer is going to be, that's not me, that's QA manager's job, or someone else from the QA or food safety. Okay, so how to change that culture is very important. Okay, continuous improvement and the employee engagement. So assessment and the evaluation, you guys can do post and pre and post training assessments, identify areas of improvement and track individual development over time. Also collect feedback from the trainings. Assessing the effectiveness of the training, you guys can go on the floor, you guys can go there, you guys can also just have general casual conversation. Hey, how you doing? I was just wondering what's going on today. For example, metal detector is a really good example. Can you explain me, can you show me how does metal detector function? Okay, so you are again checking the effectiveness of the training. Sanitation, for example, what is the purpose of sanitizer, right? Why do we have to do the sanitation? What is the purpose? What is the objective behind cleaning the lines? So just to make sure that trainings are effective, again, I'm not expecting to them give me a SOP full answer, but the basic understanding, they understand what is the role, what is the responsibility, and what are the consequences. If I don't clean the line properly using the right concentration or the sanitizer, oh, there's a consequence, right? You might be dealing with the allergens. What are the allergens? Why do we need to clean from one allergen to the another allergen, right? So please use these trainings and again make it more specific for certain group or certain maybe departments, and make sure you do evaluate, assess. Again, I'm not saying you have to quiz them in front of everybody and make them uncomfortable. That is not the agenda here. Okay, you can use surveys also. Surveys could be anonymous surveys to see are they qualitative data, quantitative data, are they really understanding, are they getting anything, are we improving, how are we enhancing our culture, or how are we making sure these food safety trainings are actually effective. Encourage ongoing improvement and the staff. So again, staff are the important people who are actually running the whole show. We need to make sure that we have this mechanism. We ask them to provide feedback, what they like, what they didn't like about this time. Is there an, again, reward system and continuous training cycle. Okay, periodic refresher to ensure knowledge retention and adapt to new challenges. When I go to the sites and I ask them, how often do you do the training? They say once a year. And I always jokingly ask, do you remember what you had last 4th July or last Thanksgiving? How do you expect somebody to retain that information from the training that you provided a year ago? Employee, they say we have this, employee handbook, and I'm like, my employee handbook must be collecting dust somewhere. I have no idea where I place, or it's probably already in trash. That is the reality. So please make sure you are doing refresher trainings, whether it's every 6 months, every quarter, every month. When I was in the manufacturing, we used to do every Monday before 6 a.m. or if the shift starts at 6 a.m., we are going to leave 10 minutes, meaning from 6:05 to 6:15. We're going to pick a topic, very simple topic, hand washing, for example, and we're going to address it and done. So every Monday we are doing these, picking up small topics to refresh our employees so they are updated. Okay, if you Monday is too the frequency every Monday is, if it is too much, then you can pick up a topic of the month. Okay, and you guys can try that way also. It could be bi-monthly also, whatever works for you. But what I'm trying to say, please stay out of this mindset of, oh, I provided you training, we do it once a year, and then you expect employees to remember everything. I highly doubt that. Let's talk about attention and retention here. Studies suggest that adult attention spans tends to wane after about 10 to 15 minutes of continuous focus. So this means learners are most engaged in the short burst, and training sessions should be designed to include breaks, activities that re-engage their focus every 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, otherwise they're gonna get lost in their own thoughts. Like I said myself, I'm probably thinking about what I'm gonna have for lunch or dinner, or what is this what is happening this weekend, or maybe meetings. Who do I have, meetings tomorrow? Let me check my schedule. So I'm going to be gone. So again, I'm physically there, but I'm mentally somewhere else. So how can we engage them? Okay. 10 to 15 minutes, again, topic. 5-minute topic could be another one. 10-minute topic could be another one. There are graphics if you're doing the visual auditory, you have graphics, you have videos every 5 to 7 minutes that can help maintain attention. So general guidelines for the training session. So when you are preparing this in-house training sessions, it is essential to consider the need and preference of your audience when you're determining the length of the training sessions. So for example, attention span, time availability, ability to maintain focus can impact engagement and retention. So additionally, incorporating your interactive elements such as breaks, for example, opportunities to participate can also enhance engagement through your training session regardless of the length. So rule should be, or it could be, micro learning, shorts, bite-sized training module ranging from few minutes to 15 to 20 minutes. Traditional training sessions range from 1 to 2 hours. Again, longer trainings can be more appropriate for the in-depth topics. Workshops, seminars, half or full day, multi-day sessions. Virtual training can also be ranging up to 2 to 3 days, 2 hours. Workshops and seminars are really another way. Companies actually use these workshop or seminars when they are doing, let's say, off-site for their employees, or companies have these departmental off-sites and they feel like, okay, it's a team building exercise. So how about we come up, and I am actually working with a project where I'm creating this workshop for a group of individuals where they want to talk about root cause analysis. They are struggling with the root cause. They do corrective actions. Again, we all know the basic corrective actions we take. We put on hold, and we're going to figure out the disposition of the product. And the root cause is just the surface level, but we are not really understanding what caused this incident. So they are asking, again, for to come up to build a training material for a 2 to 3 hour where we are actually talking about how to conduct root cause. Okay, so now in this workshop, what I'm going to be coming up with different scenarios, real based scenario. Okay, during a typical day in a production, and then the tools, 5 whys, fishbone, for example. Okay, and then how to use those tools and how to do a root cause. So again, you guys can choose that option also, where you are doing this workshop for your employees. And then in the end, I just came up with this case study where, because interactive trainings at XYZ Food, and the background was that produce needed a more engaging ways to train seasonal workers on allergen management and proper sanitation practices. So if you are in this scenario, if you want to use the chat box, how would you handle this? What would be the solution where you're training seasonal workers, meaning they're there for a week, it could be a month, it could be 2 months? Anyone? The solution could be that you are probably using interactive software, training software that use simulations, again, short effective training. Yes, Christina, that's correct. You guys can use quizzes also, gamification, scenario based, to make sure they understand. Results were actually, in this scenario, higher engagement. 90% of the employees completed all interactive modules, with 80% adopting to redo the quizzes to improve their score. So let's say, there are 10 questions, they get 50% or 60%. There are 2 more options, for example, redo to do the quizzes to improve, and knowledge gap reduction. So reports showed a 40% decrease in sanitation related error on the production floor within 3 months. So you guys can track also, where we conducted training, it's happening, let's look at the results here. Let's look, are we enhancing, are we making any progress, or it's actually backfiring us? It's really not doing anything. Employees are just sitting there and not paying attention, and it has not improved anything in terms of our efficiency, for example, in terms of our the errors we were making, or the issues that we were facing on the floor. So Again, in this scenario, you guys can use this and you guys can do a trend analysis based on the topic. For example, it could be the one group or department wise as well. And yes, providing training in their language is a must. Like I said, I am in California and we do have bilingual employees, or for example, heavily Spanish employees speaking Spanish. Then we have to make sure they understand. Is it a lot of work? Yes, but it does give you, there is a reward in the end. They are more engaging, they are more understanding, they give the feedback also. And that's the whole idea here, that we are not just picking, say, oh, they don't need to know. It's okay. Pictures makes a difference. Yes, I myself in my SOPs, I flooded my SOPs more heavily with the pictures, because that will take my attention more than 10-page SOP. Trust me, I'm probably not gonna even read after 2 pages because you lost me. So make sure, yes, we want SOPs to be detailed, but not 5-10 pages where you are like, I'm losing this. And that is the reason why employees take shortcuts, because training material or the SOPs were so long and the language they were using so heavy that they lost it and they just say nod their heads. I'll give you a really funny example. In one of the companies that I was working with, we were providing the trainings, and this gentleman, one of the managers, was providing training. So meaning he was speaking in English, and we had this another gentleman who was translating in Spanish. They all nodded their heads, yes, we understand, and they, of course, they fill the training form that we understand it, and done. 2 months later, I did a internal audit and I was asking this basic question, and none of them was able to answer. So I said, what's going on? Supposedly they were trained and everything. I gave a non-conformance. This gentleman did it, and 2 months later, same thing happened. So I said, how are you guys doing the training? The training was conducted, like I said, English speaking. This gentleman is translating, but they are really not engaging the trainees. All they're doing, reading the SOP, they're nodding their head, yes, we understand. They're filling the form, and according to this manager, I provided training and I'm done here. But he never checked the effectiveness of the training. He never really asked, hey, please don't worry about language, please speak whatever is comfortable to you, and I'm more than happy to help you. No, there was nothing like that. 10 minutes, done. Fill the paper. I have the training record in my hand, and supposedly everybody's trained in my facility. But in reality, it was not engaging enough. It was not, participants were not paying attention. And of course, trainer was not also doing his due diligence either. Okay. So please make sure that you are looking into these things, you are addressing those concerns, and it has to be reward system rather than punishing and just saying, this happens very often. I just trained you yesterday, or I trained you a week ago. What do you mean? I just trained a month ago. Okay, but that also giving you a lot of information that you just trained them yesterday, you just trained them a week ago, a month ago. However, the expectations that you had is not there. Okay, so again, instead of getting mad on the floor on the employees, you got to step back and figure out, okay, what is happening? There is a gap here. Find out that gap and try to fill those gaps and say, okay, you know what? Okay, I get it. Why they're saying I just trained you and they are not retaining that information. It could be they're super busy. Individual is doing 10, 20 things, 20 million things in a given day, but is it a good excuse? Probably not. That just, again, I'm not going to blame the employee. Senior management, again, we got to take a bigger look here. Are we providing the right resources? Are we just doing it just because we have to bring this product out on the floor, take it out, ship, pack, and there's no, again, trainings are missing here, and we have this bunch of paperwork showing employees are trained, but in reality on the floor it's not showing. Okay, so with that said, again, like I said, I'm from ASI, so we have a lot of self-paced classes coming up. We have instructor-led classes also, so you guys can visit our asifood.com. Somebody actually mentioned the PCQI. Yes, PCQI version 2.0 is coming out. We will be providing that training starting January 2025. So if you're interested in the PCQI 2.0 version, feel free to visit our website and you guys can sign up. And with that said, thank you for attending this session with me. I really enjoyed, and I hope you guys liked this session.
Thank you, Hamid. That's great. lots of information, and you will get a copy of the slide deck afterwards, so PDF copy, so you can look at that at your leisure. Let's get into a few questions from Vinod. Whether training methodology and principles can be applied for training the contract workers. Please share your comments.
So your contract workers, or we call it seasonal employees, for example, or agency employees. The minute they step on your floor, they are your employees. Okay. I know sometimes we say, oh, this is my ASI employee and that person is no. The rule is you gotta train them as your own employee, even though they are only there for about maybe 6 months or 3 months. You need to handle them as your employee. You got to teach them, train them fully. And because if there's something goes wrong, you cannot say, well, it was an agency employee or a contract worker, and that's why, whoops, we missed it. That is not going to fly. So please, if you are using contractor workers, you got to, the minute they step in, you got to, of course, basic GMP, and then, of course, their job-based specific, you have to train them.
Okay, thanks. Another question from Vinod. How can we organize training for top management based on principles of adult learning?
Well, top management, with my experience, it could be tricky because top management already know everything. Senior management knows everything already. And it could be challenging, but it starts from them. But again, culture and your attitude plays a major role here. I was in those shoes where we were doing, like I said, these trainings when we came up with the problem solving, how to do the Lean Sigma we came up with, how to be Lean Sigma and all other things. But also we were thinking about, okay, does employee or staff knows how to do the problem solving? And in my classes, I had 2 or 3 individuals coming from the senior management, and rest of the staff may be coming from different departments. And senior management had an attitude issues. And somebody asked me, how are we doing? And I said, employees are great. However, the senior management is the problem because they have so much attitude that I know better than you. And, you know, and it's, and again, patience. And then you still have to track them back. Okay, you know, like, hey, I understand you know it, but the person who's next to you, they don't know it. So can we please lower your standard? Can you please engage? Maybe you can teach them, right? And it like I said, it took a while, but the feedback I got that I didn't lose my patience. I was still able to I get it, but let's come back to the topic here, okay? Why don't you explain? Because there was a participant, they were like, this is going off my head. I don't understand. Because the senior managements were already ahead of the game. So you have to lower your standards again. Standard meaning you have to come to that level that, hey, this is a class for everybody, and I'm not here senior management. I don't care your title. You are an employee. You're taking my class. You better pay attention.
Okay, fair enough. Another question from Vinna. What are all the different ways of getting effective feedback from the employees from different cultures and diversity? Please share your comments.
So feedback, if it is an open door policy, of course you can ask, but most of the time employees are really not vocal when there's a lot of people around. You guys can do anonymous survey. If again, it's an open door policy, I can just come to your office and say, hey, by the way, this is my feedback, right? But you got to think, you have to encourage them. There's an award system, for example. You can say, give the feedback and such, and there's a award. Now, award doesn't have to be monetary here. Please be careful. The minute you bring this money, for example, it quickly becomes, culture is changing and we don't want to do that. So the feedback, you can also take quizzes, for example, and say, hey, or, you know, some kind of form that, hey, what was your feedback? Can you write in an anonymous box? And they can just drop in a box also, where they don't have to be, you know, worry about is anybody looking at me, right? So you guys can do that way as well.
Okay. Seems to be all from Vinod. How can the trainer prepare himself to deliver effective training sessions?
That's a great question. As a trainer, you need to know first, you have to be subject matter expert, okay? You need to know what are the topic, how deep, and then your presentation makes a major or important role here. If your presentation is too busy, there's so much text, I'm going to lose you. I'm going to be honest, okay? If there's a pictures or videos also, typically in my trainings, I do a lot of, you know, for example, discussion questions. What do you think? It's a simple question. Why do you think hand washing is important? You might think it's such a basic question, but you will be surprised. what kind of response you're going to get from there. Okay, so look at your audience first. What is my audience? What are, where they're coming from, what department they're coming from, what are their job descriptions look like, and then change your topic or change your context based on your audience. And then, of course, discussions, quizzes, breakout sessions. If you're doing a live classes, if it is you guys can do like, again, group sessions, also group exercises as well. And you guys can say, okay, somebody from this group, please, discuss and have this, talk about it. And then you guys can engage that way as well. I don't like the fact that we gather people, we read from the SOP, we show the presentation, bye-bye, and they sign the paper and they are nodding the head, they are trained. So if that's happening, you are not really doing training, you're just doing this because you have to do it.
Okay. Thank you. Another one, how can we fix the training frequency for the employees working in the factory environment and the office environment?
Training frequency, like I said, depending on you need support from your upper management or your senior management here. Again, production is busy, we all know that, but we got to stop somewhere, right? In my experiences, we used to have 4 hours or maybe 1 hour during the middle of the production. We'll say, okay, this is for training only, right? You guys can take Friday, for example, or Saturday. I'm not sure your Monday to Saturday operation or Monday to Friday operation. Or if it is too much, then can we do like a topic of the day, topic of the month, where you are doing 10-minute check on each other. You guys can do that also, rather than doing an annual training where everybody's sitting again. And I can guarantee you, I don't remember anything from last week. There's no way I'm going to remember from a year ago. And I have no idea what I was learning there. Okay. So depending on your audience, again, what is your operation needs, you guys can do topic of the month, topic of the week, maybe. Each department can do topic of the week, or it could be every month. It could be every quarter also. So okay. It's all what's your production needs.
Okay. Question from Nazish. I'm serving as a training manager in my company. While it is the toughest task to convince the industries or restaurants or cafes to get in-house trainings from us, it is the integral part of a well-organized system. Oh, so it's more of a state.
More of a, yeah.
Okay. We agree. Another one from Vinod. Whether is in-person training or online training the most effective mode?
Very good question. Vinod, during the COVID, I taught back to back probably for months online classes, which is again instructor led, just like this Zoom or whatever platform, and they were effective. It all depends on the trainer. If I ask my audience to turn off their audio and video and I'm just talking and I'm really not getting anything, I think it depends. The effective mode is, in my experience, you can make it very effective. It's all about the trainer. I can be coming to your site, I can make it effective, and I could be very boring and I'm just reading the slides and off the floor, right? So I have seen both ways. It goes, I think it depends on the trainer and the training material. How are you engaged? How engaging you are? Can you really get their attention? Okay. If you're talking for 1 hour, I can guarantee you they're sleeping probably, and their eyes are open, but they are off. So again, in 10 minutes, in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like, hey, randomly you can ask. I can ask probably, hey, randomly somebody, hey, for example, Dixon, what do you think? Oh, for example, Vinod, what do you think? So now you're alert that, hey, she can just pick anybody, right? You might say, hey, I don't know the answer. That's completely fine with me. I'm not really pushing people to really say something, but I really want them to be attentive that, hey, my name might show up.
Okay. Question from Layla. How do we convince our bosses to have these in-house trainings?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. Well, culture. First is culture. You guys can talk about if you are going through a lot of issues that, hey, we are just on a go. Employees are taking a lot of shortcuts. We have a lot of customer complaints coming up. It could be quality related, for example, right? Food safety related, of course, I hope not. But even if it is quality related, what's going on? And you have to tell your bosses to, hey, we got to slow down. We need to train our employees to make sure that food or the product that we are getting out of our facility is safe for our consumer. Because Laila, this is a really good question, because sometimes what happens is we are trying to save pennies and we end up wasting a lot of dollars or money, because at that time we didn't want to spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and now because of a recall or some other major issues are happening, and now we are going back, right? So you have to show them, convince them, like, look guys, training is important, I'm having a lot of problems, we have product, half of the product is on hold, we are not making the quality, can we do something about it? I need your help, I need your support, can we stop, can we train our employees? And you have to show by facts, not by emotions, because again, senior management goes by facts, more dollar money when you throw out there than your own emotions. Emotions will be like, we'll handle it, maybe next week, how about next month we do the training, because we are busy right now, we have a lot of important contracts that we need to ship out. That's just an excuse. That's not a good way promoting the culture again.
Yeah, for sure. Question from Nathan: V2 of the PCQI will be available for training?
Yes, starting January. I just had a training with FSVPA last week, and all the instructors are going to be teaching the classes starting January 2025. We are not allowed to teach the class version 2.0 before January of next year.
Question from Samantha: are there any resources available to help businesses develop AR or gamified in-house training programs?
Samantha, there are resources available. Those resources might be a little bit expensive. I'm going to tell you from my experience. We hired actually a instruction designer actually who was working with us to create the training material, self-paced training material. So I personally worked with the instruction designer. Instruction designers are probably not, they are not cheap. For one, there are, I can look up for sure, and I can share with Simon. There are a lot of resources. There are a lot of apps actually, which is you can just upload your presentation, and then you can basically play around with those tools, and you can put a voice note also. And there's a lot of, so more than happy to share that.
That's good. How do you tell senior manager not to wear jewelry on this production floor?
God. That is a culture issue. If they're still wearing a jewelry, Dixon, then we need to train them. Hey, can we please talk about GMP policy here? Can we, because again, what kind of message are we giving to our employees? Why are we creating this barrier where we are lenient with the senior manager and saying, hey, employees, you cannot do this or that? I think it's not a really good practice, because you're not creating a culture where everybody is same, rule applies to everybody, and you need to go back and say, hey, can we please follow GMP? Because, and this is a really good example, Dixon, or question you asked, because one of my HR manager walked on the floor with the high heels with bunch of jewelry on, and she thought that, oh, I'm here on the floor only for 5 minutes, and employees whistled at me to get my attention, and I had to say out from my floor, whether she liked it or hated it. Sorry, rule doesn't. There's no, it applies to you. She complained to my boss, and I said, well, she's not exempted employee, is she? If she wants somebody, she can call the employee in her office. But what kind of message am I giving that she's okay to do whatever, but on employees, I'm so strict that you cannot do this X, Y, Z, right? So again, you're sending a message, you are leading by example, and I had to do it. Was that a good way or bad way? That's a separate, but I had to do it because I'm like, nope, off the floor, please. I don't care.
Yeah, they should understand that if they're a decent manager. Elisa, are current PCQIs required to take this updated PCQI training to be compliant with FSMA?
No, Elisa, this is not a requirement to take a version 2.0. However, they're going to be phased where I'm just going to example, by June 2025, 1.2 will be phased out and 2 will be live. As long as you read the regulations and you are updating yourself, you should be fine. It's not a requirement to take a training.
Okay. Just a second. Are you all right for time?
Yeah.
Okay. Dixon, how do I get trainees more involved. I think you've already mentioned by having breakout sessions, asking questions, I think.
Quizzes, create some kind of interactive activities, make it more fun. I think once you put that fun element, they're more engaging. If it is boring, nah.
Yeah. Less words, more pictures and fun.
Yep.
Vinard, I think we've done that one. Mohammed, how can we improve the food safety implementation if people don't want to improve even training sessions that were arranged? So when people don't want to take part and managers don't and senior management don't, bother provide the time for people to go, the resources, how can you improve food safety? It's a fundamental part.
Oh my God. Mohammed, this is a really good question. Question goes back to senior management. What are you guys waiting for, right? To have a massive recall here and then you're going to learn and then you're going to wake up? Or, sometimes they feel like resources, but senior management again goes back to culture here. What kind of culture do we have? For example, especially you at GFSI level, SQA, BRC level, we have to make implementation is not for the day of the audit. And typically what happens, we pass the audit, great. And after that, everything goes down. And if the audit is coming, we are back again. And that is not a good culture. Every day on a daily basis, we need to make sure that it's throughout the session or throughout the whole year, we are not compromising our food safety. If you are already having a lot of issues, that shows the culture, that shows we are lacking the training. Senior management have to understand, they have to be engaging. Again, sometimes you have to put your foot down. Then what is my purpose here as a food manager or food, or director, if we are going to bypass me?
Yeah.
Sometimes it is straightforward, but you got to ask them, okay, what is the purpose of me having in the company if I'm not able to implement the food safety, make sure food is safe, and what are we waiting for, right?
Yeah. Okay, Nurai. Could you give a short content for laboratory staff in-house training? What should they know about food safety?
Really good question.
Yeah.
I have worked in the lab. I started my career with the ISO 17025, 65, whichever number is lab, and we have SOPs. The lab is actually much easier because you can tell them, can you show me? Can you do the test with me? Right. So there's a practical element to that, just not the reading SOP. So you can show your lab staff, okay, let's pick this topic or pick any testing that you're doing, whether it's microbiology testing or chemistry testing. You can have them and you can do we call proficiency test also, right? In terms of food safety, they need to learn what is the benefit or what are the consequences if they're just reading the results, and especially if you're doing pathogenic testing, for example, salmonella coming positive, what is the consequence? If it is a positive, we need to make sure employees understand, meaning at least management understand, we got to put product on hold. Okay, so you have to tie all these results, consequences, again, how does the results make a difference? What is the purpose of testing in the first place, right? And then how does it affect, and what is the importance, and then again, how to operate these machines, especially in the chemistry side. I used to run HPLC machines, and as you know, they are very precise. The bubble and all this chemistry side of it is just like, my HPLC machine not gonna give me the false results. So proficiency, efficiency makes a difference there. So you gotta go back down there to the floor level and tell them, okay, I'm gonna run a sample. How about you run a sample with me? Practical, more engaging, and you're teaching them that way.
All right. Thank you. Fiona, we have implemented e-learning modules for our factory workers, but the effectiveness are low. Yet, because we have so many topics to cover and not much time to cover them, all to be refreshed annually by face-to-face training. Any recommendations on how to enhance effectiveness of e-learning? P.S. We already created pre-test and post-test for each module.
This is a really good one, Fiona. If you have a lot of topics, can we divide those topics by topic maybe, instead of like having them sit in a one go and go through a bunch of topics? So for example, I'm just going to say allergen management. Allergen management shouldn't take more than 10, 15, max 20 or 30 minutes. And we finished, and then next week or next day, maybe it could be another topic. So if you want to divide in topic by topic, GMP could be a really good one, maybe max 1 hour, right? If you feel like these are heavy topics, maybe make it separate and then make it journal topics in a one bucket. That way they're more engaged. There's so many topics, and if they're just going in a given day, they're probably losing and they're not really paying attention. So if you want to do e-learning also, which again, this is the one of the best effective methods that facilities are approaching or using, you guys can maybe break it down into more specific topics and shorter, not 1 hour, but 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah. I mean, one of the good things about these webinars, for example, is when this is recorded and the replay and somebody goes to watch it, the questions after come in, and they're often questions that you might have asked yourself, you know, because it enlarges and broadens the content of the actual presentation. So webinars are amazing. Traditional e-learning is quite, you know, tunnel. Vinod, what are all the critical parameters to evaluate the external training service provider and trainer? Please throw some light on this concept.
All right, Vinod. So first, you want to use the trainer, service provider, or the trainer who are actually lead instructors. So myself, I'm a lead instructor of PCQI. I'm a lead instructor of SQF. I am an ATP for BRCGS, for example, right? So you guys can look at my credentials on SQF BRC or even FSVP website that I am a legit instructor. I'm not just saying like, hey, take my class because I know how to teach. You will be surprised. A lot of instructors are out there who are actually not the lead instructors. Okay, that and that shows, you know, are they credible? Are they legit instructors? Do they know? Are they the subject matter experts, right? What if I say, oh, I can teach you SQF, but I'm not a proper trained, you know, because again, you're talking about evaluating. They evaluate us. It's not like, you know, we submit an application and they say, voila, here's another instructor. We have to go series of other things also to become a lead instructors for each, for example, SQF, BRCGS, for example, or even FSVPA, which is again our federal rules and regulations. You can check there, and also you can look at the reviews also. You can go to the websites, for example, reviews. You got to take a shot. You can give, for example, me a chance. And if you like it, then here you go. You know, I was a good instructor, right? So, I mean, again, it all depends on if they have credibility in the industry. They are really popular for the trainings. And you just take one class with them or, you know, sessions with them, and you take it from there.
Okay. And Anupam's just asked, is there any training material on quality culture? Well, actually, next Tuesday, we've got practical food safety culture training with Vladimir, 4-hour training. So if you want to hop on that, I'm sure you'll learn a lot. Okay, just two more. Vinod, where are we? Whether we can we provide training awareness sessions for our customers and service providers? If so, how will it impact on the business?
Great question, and I think there's a great or huge impact on your business because service providers. So service providers, let's talk about who are the service providers here. If you're using a smock company who are washing your smocks, for example, they are service provider. A lab you're using to test your samples, for example, they are the service providers, right? The service providers could be laundry services, like I said. Pest management company are also your service providers. So when they're coming on site, they need to have basic GMP trainings because they will be doing coming on the site. They will be doing the working. So you should train them. To your customers, it's about awareness. So again, you guys can choose to send your procedure and say, hey, if they want to do in-house training, or you can go actually on site. And again, you guys can use the on-demand, the self-paced also to make sure that they have really good understanding of your operations, of the things that you're expecting. So they have, so now the services are better. Your customers are well aware what you guys do, and in terms of food safety, they understand why certain things are certain way, right? So it all depends how complex your customers are, how complex your service providers, you know, how much less. If it is only few, then it's easier. But if it's a long list, then you need to sit down and say, hey, maybe I should could be a risk assessment maybe, and see which one, is a higher risk here, higher priority for me. I should tackle these customers. I should tackle these service providers for me, because these are more important. Not that others are not important, but I have a higher impact on my business.
Okay. I think we've got to the last question, Hami. So, Dixon, not really related to training, but tenuously, as senior and top manager altered our company SOP for washing production lines. How is this acceptable, and what is the need for washing the lines after every 3 hours?
So, Dixon, I don't know your operation. I don't know exactly what's happening and how often you clean or all. But in terms of food safety, you got to ask them if did they engage the sanitation team, did they engage food safety, right? Is it acceptable or not? You guys have to do a risk assessment here. Are the machines or your, I don't know what, the lines that you're washing, what kind of durability it looks like, the design of the machine, right? If they're saying the need of washing every 3 hours, there must be a reason behind it, right? So you gotta sit with them and say, okay, is there any reason we gotta do every 3 hours? Can we do 6 hours? Can we do 2 hours? I don't know exactly, but how is it acceptable? You guys need to sit as a team and figure out why is it acceptable. Did they do it every 3 hours because it's a less time for production, more time for efficiency? Are they getting a lot of yield? If the dollar is the reason, then it may not be acceptable. If it is a scientific justification because of your operation, then it makes sense, right? So you gotta sit with them, explain, understand, and okay, if it is a legitimate scientific reason why we want to do the frequency, whether it's 2 or 3 hours or every day, then yes. But if it is business reasons, then it's not acceptable.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you very much, Hami. I know we've run over, but it was worth it to get through all the questions, which is really great. So I appreciate your time, Hami. Enjoy your vacation in Germany and Austria in Europe.
Looking forward.
Very good. And enjoy your weekend.
Thank you again. Thank you everyone who attended, and looking forward to have more sessions probably next year.
Definitely. You'll be welcome back. Thanks very much, Hami.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, we have loaded the certificate in the sidebar. We'll follow up with an email with the recording, slides, and the certificate again. And we'll be sending an email also for next week's webinar, which is, let me just check. Next week, we have assessing food racism and discrimination with food safety systems. And that's with Vladimir Suchinsky. And we've got Vladimir actually next Tuesday with practical food safety culture. So if you can join any of them, you'll be welcome. So everybody, thanks for your attendance today and taking part. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.